Welcome back. Joined now by Commander Laura Farinella, who is the commander of the Gangs and Violent Crimes Division of the Long Beach Police Department. Welcome to our show, Commander.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
Commander has been with the force for 19 years. She supervises 120 officers, and for the record, there are about 200 uniformed female officers in the Long Beach Police Department out of 1,000. Crime figures, good news this last year.
Very good news for 2008. Since 2002, for the past 5 years, we've seen a dramatic drop in our crime. So in the closing of 2008, we saw a 5.6% decrease in overall crime, which is definitely kudos to all the men and women out there doing good, hard police work.
Yeah. And I know the recent March figures are in, and they look good too.
Yes, overall crime is once again down 1.5%, and we'll take any percentage or any decrease because that just means a safer city.
I was impressed that they break Part 1 crimes against person into violent and nonviolent, and in the violent crimes, the murder, rape, manslaughter was down 8% year to year for the past year. So that's a great victory.
Yes, that's really shows what we did with our gang crime. Our gang shootings and gang murders were down significantly last year, and I think that's a reflection of that.
And yet these economic hard times have triggered some tragic outbursts that we've all read about in the paper. One at Memorial Hospital, and a friend of mine who works there, who knew the shooter, said that this person was the least likely human being ever to do something like that.
That's correct. My homicide investigators investigated that crime, and for all the people they spoke to, family and friends, work people, they all said the same thing. Wonderful man, nice person. This came out of nowhere, and it was unpredicted.
Yeah. And there was also a shooting at Arzaba Park involving a theft of an iPod, I think, leading to a tragic death.
That's correct. We had a young man playing basketball, and his iPod was taken off the bench, and he chased after those that took it and was shot and killed. Since that time, detectives worked relentlessly, and both those suspects are now in custody. And
finally, one in Silverado Park, a shooting there.
That's correct. And as I was driving here today, more good news, that suspect is also in custody.
That's great. Well, the police are on it. I know how committed the chief and his staff are, and I've been to press conferences where the mayor's there and just say, we're not going to permit this in our city.
Yes, we have definite relentless follow-up from patrol officers to the detectives that work with me and the community as well. I think it's a combined effort. We're not going to solve crime just with the police officers alone. We definitely need the community's input. And you talked about Memorial Hospital. Just a little touch on that, as I think, as you've seen in Oakland and in Philadelphia, where some officers were shot, and we're having some stressors out there in the community. Just people be vigilant and be aware, and be cognizant of those they work around, and maybe lend them towards the mental health facilities or some help if they see someone struggling.
There's an irony here, Braden, that even though the crime figures are so good, we see these well-publicized and tragic outbursts. Is it something in the air now with the economy and the meltdown and people afraid of losing jobs and pressures?
Well, I think that is definitely a factor. In the last month or two nationwide, there have been a series of what we call active shooters that have involved workplace violence, employees laid off, people that have been fired. And I think it's an unfortunate sign of the economic times.
Commander, you worked on patrol for many years, dealing with gangs. Give our viewers a sense of what it's like. What is the mentality of these people, and how do we turn it around?
It's real tough to turn it around. I think we have to get into the family unit. We have to get into that culture, that neighborhood, and make those people care about that neighborhood to want to change it around and the people that live in it. These are people that's how they live day to day. That's how they sell drugs, they commit crimes in order to support their lifestyle. And that's how they support each other. Now, in order to get involved in that is to get the young kids early and weed them out of there. Show them there's a different lifestyle, that's not the only way that they see their life going.
And the breakdown in the family structure has contributed mightily to this gang problem.
We see that, I would say, in almost every case. It's a fragmented family, and as you talk about morals and ethics in a family are not there, and they're misguided.
And so the gang, in a sense, even though it's so antisocial, provides a sense of belonging and place for people that may not have it elsewhere.
Yes, a sense of security.
A sense of security.
Absolutely.
So it does provide, in this perverse way, a social function to the member of the gang.
Yes, it does.
So we need to provide an alternative and constructive social setting for those members.
That's correct. And we try to do that through youth programs at the parks and such things as that, even with school programs, to divert their attention from what's going on maybe on the street level to something more productive.
Well, I personally in the show has supported the PAL program for many, many years. Sadly, that's gone, but it's been taken over, Braden, by Parks and Rec and others.
Correct.
But working with our young people, and the chief has said it on our show, pay me now or pay me later.
Well, I think one other factor that should be considered in how you turn this around is education. Most of the gang members have dropped out of school early on. Most of the people that are in jail are functionally illiterate. And I think education is a huge factor in making a change in the way our society deals with the gang culture.
But how do you get people to realize the importance of education when they don't have a home with loving parents and no one's encouraging them, like many of us have been fortunate? Big problem. We'll be back with this discussion after these messages.